Thank you, Mike Slater, aka Misery, for adding a new tournament to the Starcraft scene here in North America. Our Terran player in the bottom right. He used to run his own team, XS Gaming, but now he plays for Archangel Gaming. He used to be known as Siege Mode, but now he uses his actual last name. From the US of A, he is Dolan! If my last name was that cool, I'd use it too. He's a combat engineer for the Canadian military, but he's also a Grandmaster Zerg. He is NYK! Can you tell I'm stoked to finally be casting some Zerg again? These TVPs have been awesome, but I need me some monsters. It's a 16 hatch for NYK. This contest is going to play out on one of the newer maps, Death Aura, which has 3 acceleration zones in the middle of the map. Less talked about, this is also a map with rich Vespene gas geysers on it. We'll have to keep an eye out to see if any of those become a factor. But first, we need NYK to honor us with an extractor pool. There's the extractor. And here comes the pool. It'll be 46 seconds before that baby's complete. Meanwhile, back at the Terran Ranch, the barracks is just about complete. Dolan's gonna send out an SCV scout though. He needs to triple check that the Zerg is indeed expanding. Racks completes, Reaper starts up, and so it's gonna be a Reaper expand for our Terran, both players going for standard openings. No signs of cheese or early aggression at this point. Hey, it's a DIY command center. They may look complicated, but really anybody can build one. You just gotta watch a couple home improvement shows, and have access to the Dominion military operation. Dolan's orbital's gonna complete. He's got 3 SCVs on his first refinery. And there's the inaugural mule, which we will celebrate with the production of the first military unit in our series, the Reaper. Oh, Dolan's trying to block NYK's third. The spawning pool has finished. Zerg puts his money in double queen production. That's gonna give him a little bit of time to clear out this pesky SCV. Is he actually gonna get it? No! Dolan pulls out with exactly 5 hit points left. One more hit and he was a goner. Clearly our Terran player has that timed out. So the Zerg third base goes down just as the Reaper arrives. No queens yet, just 4 lings with 2 more on the way. NYK is gonna need to rotate his lings or he's gonna lose them. Can Dolan grab himself a first blood or will the queen pop? His window's closing fast. The hatchery bursts the queen and the balance of power rapidly changes in the region. Meanwhile, back at home, Terran's got a factory on the way and is preparing a reactor for the barracks. I've been watching so much non-standard lately, it's almost a treat to see this traditional build. This is how my father killed the Zerg and his father's father before him. We will build a starport and perform a reactor switch and you will like it, young man. Dolan's Reaper doesn't get anything done, but he keeps it alive so he can continue to pressure the Zerg. NYK starts up metabolic boost. Until he has ling speed, a Reaper lurking on the periphery is gonna be a problem. Dolan's currently ranked 221st in the world, which actually makes him a top 25 US player. NYK is ranked 378 in the world, number 15 in Canada. That Reaper's working hard to distract the Zerg's macro, just appearing in and out of his vision. Meanwhile, Dolan's gonna increase his Hellion count to 4, rather than attack with just 2. Oh, we've got ourselves a fusion core. Dolan is tech rushing to battle cruisers. My interest has just been officially piqued. Yeah, there's the tech lab going on that starport. That Reaper is such a tease. Dolan refuses to throw him away. He plays with the idea of going inside the Zerg base. Oh, this time he's going for it. Link speed is not yet complete, but NYK may have the surround. No, the Reaper slips through. No drone kills, but he's able to confirm there's no Baneling nest or Roach Warren hiding up there. The Reaper pops down and finds 3 queens waiting for him. But as soon as they go off creep, they're just too slow to stop him. Oh, Dolan's Hellion count goes up to 6. A lot of players will tell you that's an early sign of a mech build. NYK's gonna go for the scout by sacking an Overlord that doesn't have the speed upgrade. Terran's got 2 Marines available to try to shut him down. Hellion 5 and 6 complete and the Hellion force is pushing out. NYK's gonna see a tech lab on the starport, but nothing coming out of it. Cloak is not researching. There's no add-on on the barracks. The Marines should shut him down before he gets to the fusion core. Oh yeah, that suicidal Overlord's gonna be our first blood. There it is. Meanwhile, the Reaper links up with the Hellions. They're gonna try to poke in. They run right by the defending queens. NYK collapses on them with his lings, but they're just gonna burn. Dolan jukes and heads for the third. There's flaming jets spraying everywhere. It's looking like a one-way trip, but the Hellions are certainly taking the Zerglings down with them. Queens have them pinned in the back. The Lings are giving their lives for the drones. Was this an efficient trade? NYK with a double spore rescue. The last Hellion is gonna get away. 5 Hellions give their lives for 3 drones and 20 Lings. Dolan's actually eliminated every single speedling on the map. That's one way to secure map control. Make sure your opponent has nothing but queens. Having seen that tech lab on the starport, Dolan's gonna make a spore in each one of his 3 bases. Oh, I do love Terran's Sim City here. Terran is building his 3rd command center as part of his wall. Oh, and while he's turtling, he's gonna throw down 2 more factories. Yeah, he's definitely going mech. So is this one of these builds where we have a small commitment to the battlecruiser? I never know anymore. Sometimes Terran just goes for 1, maybe 2, other times 6. NYK has a Baneling nest, by the way, but no actual Banelings. Possibly on account that he's just now replenishing his Lings. He's got no real army, but his worker count is in surprising good shape. Oh, Dolan's gonna repair his surviving Hellion. You just don't see enough of that. Come on, Terrans, get out your Hydro Spanner and look after your units. The main one for me is I never know why Terrans don't repair their Liberators. I feel like they're expensive enough to warrant it. The off-site command center is going to finish up, but so is that battlecruiser. I think we need to get ready for a dramatic tactical jump here. Or Dolan just flies it over and makes me look silly. If you fly it over, you have the advantage that you can use the tactical jump to get back. But if you jump now, you can get in your opponent's mineral line faster. Whoa, where'd he go? Ah, bad observing. Rather than jump in the mineral line, Terran jumps to a safe spot. That way, as soon as the Zerg sees him, he's already firing down shots. At the same time, this Hellion squad's gonna look to see if it can take advantage of the distraction. 1 spore is not enough to protect these drones. The queens need to get in there. They are. There's 2 more on the way. Oh, the drones suddenly become extremely interested in what's inside the spawning pool. But the battlecruiser finds them. It's 5 dead drones, 6 dead drones already. 7, but he's deep in the red. I don't think he's gonna make it home. The lumbering queens are on the cruiser, and it is time for the battlecruiser to bisect in half and evaporate. Whew! But here comes the second half of this attack. The Hellions are going after the drones at the 3rd. It's a barbecue. The drone count boss goes up to 11. The queens are out of position. NYK evacuates the surviving drones to his natural. NYK starts a massive round of Lings, 28 on back order. The Hellions pull out, but Terran's not done. A second battlecruiser's on the way. Zerg is, though, finishing his lair. Dolan is researching Yamato cannon. The next battlecruiser will be even more vicious. And the 5 remaining Hellions might not be done either. They're sneaking back around to see if they can get at that natural. The Lings will intercept, but it'll likely cost them their lives. The Hellions pull back as they see the massive throng of queens. NYK's got 7 of them. Oh, and he's also making a spire. Dolan's flown out his command center to start up his 3rd. He's grabbing both gases right away. His 2nd battlecruiser pops just in time to stop this scouting overlord. But NYK will still get confirmation of the double tank production. Both those new factories have tech labs. Following his harass, Terran is ahead on workers. And he's got the army lead too. And now that he's gone even on bases, the pressure is on the Zerg. By no means is Zerg knocked out of this, but he has been bloodied. No tactical jump for battlecruiser number 2. He's gonna fly over. And 9 Hellions are hiding on the periphery of the creep. They're looking to pounce and drop that drone count even further. NYK's still trying to drone like crazy. Since he's saving all his gas for mutas, he's got 0 Banelings. His Baneling nest is nothing more than a fancy statue. A great position by those Hellions. Only 3 drone kills this time, but boy did they reset the Ling count. Seconds ago he had 32 and now he's got 10. A 3rd battlecruiser's on the way and Yamato cannon's almost done. But the Spire's almost done too, and NYK is really banking gas. It's either Mass Muta or Mass Corruptor. Battlecruiser number 2 is gonna spot that NYK started up a 4th. Get poor over there. Oh, Yamato cannon on Queen, I love this! Oh! Squishy corpse glides across the creep. I don't care what anybody says, these are still the best death animations anywhere. Queens are on that battlecruiser, but he still has a tactical jump available to him. The drones missed their chance to get out of there. They're gonna come under fire. How many can he get before the queens can force him to jump? Running around the mulberry bush is not gonna save them. That is a lot of queen. There's the jump! 7 drones, a scout on the 4th, and he can still repair the battlecruiser. Dolan has to be happy with that outing. Why is it when a battlecruiser jumps, it turns into a schematic outline? It's like, behold, here are my original engineering designs. OMG, that is a titanic mule hammer for the Terran. Look at them all, they're like ants. Terran is massively outmining the Zerg. NYK's about to finish 10 mutas though, and he's gonna finally use his double evos. +1 melee attack, +1 armor, and he's gonna research +1 air attack at his spire. Terran's got double armories, but they're not researching yet. Instead, Dolan's researching Blue Flame and going for Mag Field Accelerator. He does have an eBay, but I think it's just so he can build missile turrets and fill out his wall. Terran's adding a sensor tower. That's really gonna help him out with muta strikes. Or at least it would if he had air defense. Right now, the battlecruisers are pretty much all he's got on that score. And both of them look to be pushing out. This could be an opportunity for DYK to get back in this. The mutas are here and they're looking to pack up. There is nothing sadder than unstacked mutas. But NYK knows he needs them in the field right now. And now that his mutas are done, he can research baneling speed and actually make some banelings. He absolutely needs those for defense. Oh, are the battlecruisers gonna spot the mutas? Oh, and the fired shots means neither player can miss it. Now everybody knows. Terran knows about the mutas. Zerg knows about the battlecruisers. How will NYK play this? Is he gonna try to sneak by or is he gonna try to shut down the cruisers? He's gonna defend. That means we're probably gonna see a couple of Yamato cannons. It's gonna be a straight up fight. Two mutas are about to be obliterated. Ooh, there's jump number 1. It's so frustrating to trade full mutas for partial damage. But NYK's decided he can't let those battlecruisers get at his drones yet again. The Terran worker lead's actually 13 at this point. There's jump number 2. He got it just in time. You gotta respect the patience there. He squeezed out every last shot and jumped at the last possible moment. And now Dolan's reacting to the mutas. He's building Cyclones and Thors. By the time the mutas get over here, they're gonna be countered. That little gaggle of mutas are discussing their misfortune. It's a tough decision for NYK. How does he deploy those mutas now? One thing he knows is he has a few seconds now to drone like crazy, and so he does. It came at a price, but he has deflected Terran's attack. Terran started +1 vehicle weapons and +1 armor. Zerg's +1s are just about done. But upgrade advantage is all Zerg has. Terran is looking absolutely mighty. He's also got a 4th command center ready to fly out at any time. I think he's just hesitant because he knows those mutas are out there. Ah, an infestation pit for Zerg. He continues to take advantage of the time he's fought for. He's actually making more mutas. I didn't see that coming, and maybe he's banking that Dolan won't see that coming either. The mutas are swinging around to the left. They're actually going to catch Terran trying to bring his 4th out. There's a bodyguard of 5 Cyclones, though. That's more than enough to zone those mutas out. The red headlights mean the Cyclones have the Mag Field Accelerator upgrade. But since all that means is they do double damage against armored targets, the mutas don't really care. They're biological and light. But regardless, Terran is going to secure his 4th. Zerg has also secured his 4th, and he's got the worker lead once again. It's been a while since Zerg started out mining the Terran. NYK is definitely showing signs of getting back into this. If he can somehow use his mutas to persuade the Terran to stay at home, he might be okay. Oh, but Dolan found a way to secure his 4th from the mutas without having to use any of his units. That is a lot of turrets, but the mutas have actually swung around to the right-hand side. The main's only got a single turret, but it does have a pair of Widow mines. As Admiral Akbar says, it's a trap! It looks barely defended, but it is well defended. The mutas are gonna try to sneak in. Oh, I don't think I can look. He's going right into them. Fire in the hole! Oh, fire in the hole! The mutas are incredibly softened up and the battlecruisers jump in to defend. NYK makes the decision to get out of there. As bad as it looked, it wasn't that bad. 18 mutas went in, 14 came out. By saving them now, he has a chance to heal them up. I thought that was going to be so much worse. But the real news is that Dolan is maxed out at 200 supply. As Billy Joel says, I'm moving out. This is one of these times when you want to press the button to turn off the acceleration zones. I do not see how the Mutaling Bang can hold off that army. The Thors should be able to hold off the mutas. They look so boss marching through the Excel zones. Oh yeah, there's also battle cruisers. Hellbat transformation! NYK starts a huge round of 38 lings. And apparently he also thinks this is a good time to start another base. This veritable phalanx of destruction marches on the creep. There's a gaggle of lings discussing it. I'm not attacking into that. You attack into that, not me. The Baneling production all has to be cancelled. Oh, this is cool. NYK slips around behind. Is he going for reinforcements or is he going for the base race? There's a great snipe on that Thor. The rest of the army's going for the race. The mutas get there first. They're going to try to open a door. The Lings are inside. There's no defense here. Just turrets, and the Lings don't care. Likewise, Zerg has absolutely no way to hold off the Terran battalion. That supreme firepower is just going to roll over the 4th. Terran's SCV count is dropping hard. NYK does not let any of them escape. Suddenly that extra base NYK made makes a lot of sense. Dolan's got a much bigger army, but he's got a lot more work to do. And the mech is not the most mobile. Terran just got supply blocked! He's not going to be able to crank out any more units to defend. And the Lings continue to eat up the depots. Yeah, NYK knew exactly what he was doing with that base. Base race insurance right there. I love it, love it, love it. This is going to be close. The pressure's now on Dolan to come up with a solution. He's still equal on army. I think he needs to think about lifting off everything under the sun at this point. Oh, the mutas are dancing right into the turrets. That could be a serious misstep. He needs those mutas to go after the buildings that get lifted off. Dolan marches into the natural. He's going to shut down the attack upgrade at the Evo, that's for sure. The tight chokes on the map are his biggest opposition right now. Terran's now down to 20 workers. That's got to be a concern. If this keeps up, Dolan's going to be all army and pretty much nothing else. He does, though, have a fortress guarded by turrets. He's probably counting on the fact that NYK does not have a solution to go after that. For now, Zerg's going to try to ignore it and see if he can clean up everything else. Meanwhile, Dolan marches into the main. There goes the poor infestation pit. The Thors have choked up the ramp. The Hellbats are all stuck in a queue behind. Terran is now 63 oversupply. This is one of the biggest supply caps I've ever seen. On the other hand, Zerg's about to lose his last tech structure. Zerg's making 5 more mutas, but after that, I'm not sure he's making anything else either. No! Terran missed the spire. The spire's still up. Dolan's trying to construct one more barracks. He's going to put it next to his fortress and missile turrets. The most well-defended spot on the map. Terran's got 19 buildings left, Zerg only 14. We don't count creep tumors for the purpose of elimination. Oh, one of Terran's command centers snuck away. That's huge. If Zerg doesn't see it, he can relaunch his economy. But NYK is also adding bases. His drone count has also been decimated. Oh, Zerg's going for the Terran heart. Terran's moving to finish off the Zerg 3rd. Zerg's got 3 hatches after this, but this is the one that was really doing the mining. Dolan seems to be resisting the temptation to split up. He's making sure his army can't be attacked. The Terran fortress is holding, but the SCVs have been obliterated. The mutas just killed the last SCV! The last SCV! Dolan's got enough money to make 50 more, but he's supply capped, so he can't. His army's twice as big, but he's suddenly in huge trouble. His hidden command center has been discovered. The mutas are hunting it down. I think if Dolan can't get back to defend, he's finished. He's losing the base race. He needs a fight. Oh, Dolan's ahead of me. He's pulling his army back. It's 9 buildings for Zerg, 8 buildings for Terran. But Dolan does not know the location of several Zerg buildings. He doesn't have vision of them. NYK knows where Terran's hiding. His Lings are on cleanup duty. But Dolan has the army to end the janitorial squad. Fortress is going down. BC's with the tactical jump. Are they too late? The mutas redirect to the BCs. No! They get the fortress and run! Zerg is still making mutas. The surviving spire has kept NYK in the game. Terran only has 3 buildings left. He's gonna guard the refinery. Make that 2 buildings left. One building left. The refinery is all Terran has. If NYK can take out the refinery, he will somehow win this game. Even though his army is half the size of his opponent's. Dolan has been revealed. The pressure is all on Terran now. He needs to go out and hunt Terran buildings. But his refinery is suddenly the crown jewels of his entire empire. It is the Pentagon. The mutas are pulling back to shut down those Hellions. Players do not get many opportunities to practice for this kind of chaos. The decision making is crippling and intense. Dolan's planted a sizable anti-air force at his refinery. Thors, Widowmines, and Cyclones. A second force, which includes both his battle cruisers, is headed out. Bring me victory, boys, or don't come home, because there won't be a home to come home to. NYK's actually pumping out SCVs. If he can reignite his economy, he's got this game. His opponent certainly can't. Dolan knows he needs fights. He finds one, and he melts a bunch of Lings. What he would give for a comstat right now. He's got 3,000 minerals he can't use. I'd be like, I'll buy one for 1,000 minerals. Oh, look how tight that defensive array is. How often do you see that? The muta count is at 24 now. That's his entire army save for 3 Zerglings. NYK tries for the crown jewels. He gets the unfinished racks, but that's not a target. Dolan's found the base where Zerg was trying to remake his spawning pool. Terran only needs 2 more hatches and 4 extractors and he can win this. NYK's not gonna wait, he's gonna dive in and go for the refinery. He's putting all of it on. The mutas are getting wasted, but can he get the building? He does! There's no GG, it was an elimination condition. NYK wins in an exhilarating game. He's done it! Exhilarating even for me. Dolan loses with an army twice the size of his opponent. How frustrating is that? At one point, Dolan was actually technically 102 over supply. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before. It's hard to wrap my head around that. Okay, so traditionally, players are warned not to base race a Terran. But it was a meching Terran. Dolan was far less mobile. But even a meching Terran has great defense. But here, Dolan maxed out and brought his whole army to attack. Amazing recognition by NYK. He immediately dropped an extra hatch and went right around the Terran. The race was on. Even with the bird's eye view, it took me a while to figure out what he was doing. A pivotal moment, in my view anyway, was when Dolan inadvertently unsieged his tanks just before they could finish off the spire. This meant NYK could replenish his mutas. If Dolan splashes the spire 1 or 2 times more, maybe this is a different game. It's easy for me to do the armchair thing, but with hindsight, when a base race starts, you gotta think about stashing some SCVs in hidden locations. Dolan started with 80 SCVs, he wound up with 0, and he didn't try to bolt until he had 7 left. I guess, with all the excitement, nobody will remember, but prior to the base race, Dolan played just a stellar game. He was out-resourcing the Zerg for most of that game, and NYK was playing greedy. Dolan did it by constantly resetting the Zerg's drone count while never skimping on his own. Anyways, how often does the game come down to so few structures? These days, people throw the epic tag around until it pretty much means mildly interesting. But this game was truly epic. I'm afraid to watch game 2. There can't be any drama left, can there? Adjutant, tell us!
Optimizing revenge scenarios and upset potential. The game begins now.
Get this fog out of the way. I need to see this. There. Okay. Did that actually work? I hope so. Reminder, it's a best of 3. Zerg now has a chance to put Terran away. Terran either ties it up or coughs up the series. And when in game 1 you get supply capped by 103, you want to be sure to start with a depot. Who am I kidding? He was going to do that anyway. He's too awesome to hide behind a fake ID. He is Dolan! Our Zerg player has an ironic ID. It stands for not yet known. He is NYK! That is so military. Though I guess I should leave room for the possibility he's a Knicks fan. Wait, are there Knicks fans? Okay, so far we got a carbon copy of the builds from game 1. You can't really blame either player for that. NYK got the win with it, and Dolan should have got the win with it. So there's no real imperative to mix it up. The variable is now we're playing on Everdream. With a 37-second rush distance, it's technically a larger map, but mostly because of the lack of acceleration zones. And it's got those sight blockers at the 11 and 5 o'clock position. Some of us prefer to call those sight blockers trees. You can't see my air quotes there, but I'm definitely making them. So just like last game, spawning pool is going to start up, Rax is going to finish. We have a scout headed out. If it's like last game, this little guy's mission is to donate 40 of his 45 hit points towards delaying the 3rd base for the Zerg. Go take 8 punches to the head and then get out of there. This SCV gets a much easier job. He gets to throw down a command center. The poor scouting SCV, he's practically got latrine duty. Now watch him surprise me, do something completely different. He's going to throw down a bunker, isn't he? There is a Reaper out on the map now. Spawning pool's about to finish, as is the natural. Yeah, this SCV just wanted to do a quick check to make sure the natural was there, and now he's going to try and delay a 3rd. Last game, NYK went double queen, and I thought that was because of the block. But maybe he just wanted to do that anyway. Most Zergs do. Yeah, double queen again, and I don't know if that's been forced or if that's his choice. The SCV is dutifully taking his head punches, or fang bites as the case may be. And then he slips out with 5 hit points once again. NYK resists the temptation to go after him, immediately drops his third. That is discipline, he knows his priorities. And now it is time for the dance of the rotating lings. Zerg needs to buy time till that queen can get here. If you ever get to watch it in slow-mo, the queen doesn't actually just pop. She sort of glides out this disgusting tube. Just like game 1, there's not going to be any lings lost. Meanwhile, the Terran command center is pretty close to finishing, as is the factory. There's a reactor being constructed on that racks, but it's probably just awaiting to be switched onto the factory. Oh, those lings are getting low. Hey there, slow lings. That's a queen's job now. Union rules. Don't you be running out there now. There's our reactor switch. It really makes me mellow. There's something about watching two solid objects pass through one another. It's just very zen to give the middle finger to the laws of physics. Dolan's going up to 2 Marines again. Last time they had the job of shutting down the scouting overlord. But NYK saw enough to make his spores. Oh, those lings are going out again. Dolan capitalizes. He grabs the first blood. Those Union rules are there for a reason. Safety is important. Now that poor ling's gonna be a cautionary tale in a public service ad. The starport finishes, and here's where I think we might see Dolan break away from his build in game 1. No! He's making another fusion core, and putting it in pretty much the same spot. There's a tech lab as well. We're almost certainly looking at battle cruisers once again. Dolan was pretty effective with those. That Reaper continues to annoy the Terran. Oh, it's a roach warren for the Zerg. That's not ideal to defend against battle cruisers. A pair of Hellions have joined the Reaper, but they can't get inside. A run by 3 queens will be pretty costly. The Reaper's gonna try to jump up. That means the lings are gonna get revenge. No, he escapes, but the queen finishes him off. Oh, did you see that? The Reaper corpse rolled down into a crevasse. I can't get enough of the death animations in this game. With the Reaper out of the way, the lings are gonna move out onto the map. Maybe it's because he only saw 2 Hellions when really there's 6, soon to be 8. He is cranking out a big round of roaches, but they're about as effective against BCs as they are against Banshees. But there's no battlecruiser actually in production. Dolan put his money into building a 3rd at his wall. It's such a strong wall, so hard for lings to get through. 8 Hellions streaking out looking to do some damage. But what they don't know is they're about to run into a pretty serious roach army. This is a moment where both sides suddenly get intel on each other. What? You're doing what? NYK's lings are gonna pounce. The wall at the natural is complete though. Dolan immediately starts a bunker. He may have a great wall, but he's only got 2 Marines to defend it right now. The Hellions are on their way back. They'll be great against the lings, just not so much against the roaches. There's a bit of a rock, scissors, paper thing going on right now. Though once that battlecruiser gets here, that's gonna change things. Kind of like when you're in elementary school and there's always that one kid who goes, I need a bomb. That beats everything. Well, why don't we all just make bombs all day long, you turd? Oh, great move by Dolan. He brought his Hellions inside his wall. And now he's even brought up his SCVs to repair. This is a stellar defense. NYK astutely identifies if he's going to crack that wall now, he needs Ravagers. And he's got his first one. This has turned into a fantastic little skirmish here. If NYK can't break in, maybe he can make the Terran pay for it with SCV losses. Ooh, battle cruiser ready. Rock, scissors, paper, bomb. Who's the turd muffin now? NYK immediately dumps his money into making 3 more queens and a spore back home. Great reaction. You gotta think about the long game here. Still, he breaks down a depot. He's gonna get his lings in. I did not think he could do that with a BC overhead. Oh, what a carnage pit. That is one dense kill zone. NYK has forced the SCV pull in the main, but he is getting cleaned up. The lings are all gonna die around that tech lab like some kind of weird twisted death diorama. Dolan calls it Orb of Flaming Ling. Zerg's army's decimated, but he's got 50 workers. That's a nice lead, but the battlecruiser might have something to say about that. Once again, he jumps to a hidden point. NYK's actually going for double evos. That's pretty gutsy. I guess he's already got 6 queens and he's about to get 3 spores. What he doesn't have anymore is a single ling or roach. Oh, he is working on that though. He's got 10 roaches on the way. The BC's gonna go to work, and I should mention there's a second one in production. NYK totally thought the BC was gonna go for the natural again, but it didn't. Dolan went for the main and outfoxed him a bit there. 5 drone kills so far. Those old queens can't race up the ramp like they used to. The battlecruiser forces out a couple of transfuses and then escapes. And it's always classier if you can kill an overlord while you're escaping. It's kind of like in action movies when you do that slow walk with a fiery explosion erupting behind you. You just look so cool. Oh, he's gonna find a second overlord. After game 1, wouldn't Dolan really love to supply block the Zerg? It's not gonna happen though. NYK's on top of his overlord production. Oh, did the VC get too greedy? Nope, he's gonna get away again. Even getting that little snipe on that creep tumor. And here come the Hellions. Oh, there's a sick Evo block. The Hellions have to go the long way around to get at the drones, and the roaches clean them up. And then NYK saves his minerals with the cancel. Man, I love this game. That so gets the juices going. But behind this attack, Dolan is going to expand. He's going to float the centerpiece of his wall at the natural over. I really love that SimCity defense. And it looks like to protect his expansion, he's bringing back his injured battlecruiser number 1, and his second one is going to pop out. Oh, big round of Ravagers for NYK. It looks like he might be getting ready to get aggressive. He's got a bigger army, but I always find that a bit deceptive when Zerg is heavy on roaches. Dolan's defense has just been stellar this series so far. He's added in 3 siege tanks. They're going to have something to say about those roaches. Oh, I think it's going to be a Queen March. And NYK is making a Nidus. That's one way to crack a Terran defense. You don't usually see both of these strats at the same time. Zerg's advancing on the 3rd, but the battlecruiser is already there. Not only can you not get my command center, you can't even break down my rocks. But the BCs won't look so superior once they see the gaggle of queens. They might not be the bomb after all. I love this because you can tell the designers never intended for queens to be used this way. They're supposed to be too slow for this to work. Meanwhile, the Lings are going to take a run at the natural. NYK's making Lings. He should have them just as his Nidus is ready. There's 3 battlecruisers now. They're going to get that Overseer. Oh, the Lings to the north are waiting. I think they're waiting for the Nidus, which happens to be right now. And Overlord gave sight to it at the south. And he did it without the speed upgrade. Oh, that is a tough defense. The Lings are going to reduce the tank count, but there's a bunker and Hellions there. Dolan has not pulled everything into one location this time. Oh, the Ravagers left their Queen Vanguard, and the BCs are just chewing them up. Now there's a tactical jump on the Nidus. The Lings are just screaming to their death single file. It's not a Nidus, it's a Lemming production facility. It's GG. NYK taps out, Dolan ties it up. Yes, we've got ourselves a series. I want to get to that tie-breaking game, but I always feel like I should leave at least one thought. How do we get better at this game if we're not investing thought into what we're watching? You know what I'm saying? So let me try real quick. NYK's last play in this game was a Queen March comboed with a Nidus Worm. The battlecruisers interrupted the march and harassed the Queens and forced the Ravagers to hang back. The Ravagers were the power to the hit. I can't say it for certain, but if Dolan doesn't uncover the march until later, say when the Queens are 3/4 of the way there or even smacking on the wall of the 3rd, NYK's strat could work, I think. The Terran D is really formidable, but if he's cracking it on 3 fronts, maybe he breaks it. Maybe. So I'm really getting a sense of who our players are as we come to the final round. Dolan seems to be a disciplined defensive Terran, almost reminiscent of Brood War. NYK is a kind of a wily, clever player who seems to love early greed, and the combo between the two of them is making for a great matchup. Adjutant, can we finish this baby off?
Preparing infant completion. The game begins now.
It's been a long journey for both these players. Let's find out who earns the W. It looks like we'll be settling this on the map Ice and Chrome, one of the new maps for 2020. Our Terran player is only 22 years old. His stats indicate he's been improving year over year. He brings the D because he's Dolan! Our Zerg player has a similar accelerating curve of improvement. Prepare for suspense because he is not yet known! Interestingly, if NYK used his last name as his ID, it would be Gaunt. That too would be pretty darn cool. So far, there's no sign of either player switching it up from game 1 in terms of builds. It's a 16 hatch for Zerg once again, and presumably a Reaper expand for the Terran. Oh, the chat's got a little shout out for Fear Dragon. He's a cool caster and you should all go support his channel. This, people, is what happens if you don't remember to put the lid on your gas geysers. See? Were you born in a barn, people? Seal those hatches. If both players are doing the same openings, what I'd like to see for in terms of an adjustment, will the SCV scout be used to delay the third again, and will either player do anything different there? Or are both players actually satisfied with the way that's playing out? It is indeed a Reaper for Dolan, and he's queuing the minerals for a command center. And there is indeed an SCV going out to check that there's a natural. I believe he has instructions not to come back until he's down to 5 hit points. I just got a crazy idea. See how those minerals are all in those steel beds? Why doesn't somebody push the beds closer to the command center? Wouldn't that just save you a ton of mining time? Why is it that the command centers refuse to land next to the minerals anyway? I guess they could create some cool backstory about how it's dangerous to have the minerals too close to your structures. Okay, it's time for Dolan's Dance of Delay. It looks like a square dance. The Reaper is out, and Terran once again is going to make a Marine behind it. I'm starting to wonder if he's actually going to go battle cruisers 3 times in a row. Okay, we're watching the hit points. 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 15, and he's gone. Fire that SCV. He had 2 more hits to give. Clearly that one's smarter than the average bear. Our second dance track will be the Reaper Ling Dance. They've got to survive until the Queen gets out. But no! Dolan gets a snipe. It's not a huge deal, but it's something. Oh, NYK saves a drone and blocks the Reaper at the same time. The Queen's gonna get him! And that is an even bigger deal. Now Zerg doesn't have to spend the next minute and a half wondering about where the Reaper is. When will it duck in again? He's earned himself a little bit of a mental breather, at least until the Hellion wave arrives. Cyril talked about this once in an interview, if I can paraphrase. As a Zerg, he'd rather trade out than stalemate, at least when it comes to harassment units. That way he doesn't have to pay any further cost and attention. While I'm yakking, Terran completes a reactor switch and starts up double Hellions. Once again, he's also making a second Marine, the primary purpose of which is to repel that Overlord when it tries to duck in and get the intel. Is he going to use them to harass, or will he get up to 6 Hellions first again? In previous games, he had the Reaper to tank for the Hellions. He doesn't have that this time. Losing that Reaper could have a slight ripple effect. Speaking of ripples, the Zerg third has geysered forth. There's eggplant-shaded goop everywhere. Hey, there's a tech lab going on that starport, which means we need to check if Dolan's making another fusion core. He is! He has absolutely Xeroxed his build from game 1 and 2. He's following the manual. He's betting it's a build that NYK cannot solve. I gotta say, the battle cruisers have been pretty effective each game so far. Dolan's initial 2 Hellions dart around and try to fake some pressure, but they can't get in past those Queens. But Hellion 5 and 6 have just completed. That's usually enough for a run-by, especially when there's a minor distraction such as a battle cruiser. But once again, Dolan's not making that battle cruiser right away. He's delaying it. His priority is to build a super wall using his 3rd command center. I guess he's making Terran great again. Are the Hellions going to try their run-by before the battle cruiser? They're going to go at the 3rd. They'll take their licks from the 2 Queens and shoot for the mineral lines. There's the drone pull, and the Lings with the sacrificial block. Oh, it's working. The Hellions are getting torn up. They find a better position behind the mineral line, but at that point they are just too soft. The resources lost tells the story there. And NYK decides this gives him a window to get his Lings out on the map. He knows if the world is Hellion free, he should be out there. The Overlord pokes in like Groundhog Day, but he decides he's Bill Murray. He's not going in this time. He's like, dude, I only need to see 1 inch to know this is a battlecruiser rush. Every one of Zerg's hatches immediately starts an extra Queen. He's not making spores though. He's gonna try to muscle this with just a ton of Queens. The battlecruiser's just about ready, and once again, factories 2 and 3 are getting constructed. Will Dolan tactical jump right out of the gate once again? That Overlord's like, I know I'm supposed to be dead, but I just refuse. And it's battlecruiser ready. Oh, that was so awful. But ignore my bad impression, focus on the tactical jump. It's gonna be halfway between the natural and the 3rd. I'm not sure what the target is. It's the 3rd. Oh, there is a spore finishing up. And only a lone Queen is there to defend. She's just been birthed. Dolan's hit a different base each game, and that strategy has worked for him. Oh, look at those Zerglings. They're like a perfect backwards C. Aw, the battlecruiser had to go and wreck it. Maybe the Lings were trying to spell out an obscene message for the battlecruiser in high orbit. Okay, here comes the sisterhood. This is the firepower to deal with that battlecruiser. But he's already got a satisfying 9 kills as he flies away. 9 kills for hull damage? You'll take that all day long. Oh, the Great Wall of Terran's gonna split off and go to start up the third. Once again, Dolan's gonna use an eBay to fill the gap. I love the precision with which he's got this timed out. NYK's starting up lair tech. Dolan's actually picked the opposite base that the Zerg chose to expand for its third. In theory, this is actually the harder option to defend. It has more access points. You can't really tell the difference because NYK has already destroyed the rocks in front of his third. And he started his fourth. And double Evo chambers, by the way. Zerg's been ahead on upgrades throughout this series. We've seen that Dolan likes to go for a double armory. But right now, he's adding a third battle cruiser, and he's researching Yamato cannon. Lairtech's gonna finish for our Zerg. Let's see what he does with it. So far, nothing. He's just building roaches. And he's getting +1 melee and +1 range. And roach speed. That's what the lair is for. I was starting to wonder why he bothered. Once again, though, you gotta be kind of worried about how roaches are gonna stack up against BCs. He certainly got the queens for defense. But unless he's doing another queen march, how does he attack? And he's adding a baneling nest. Also not terribly well known for their effectiveness against battle cruisers. Maybe he's trying to make Scourge. Okay, so once again, these two fresh BCs are going to have a tactical jump available to them. Well, there's NYK's answer. Those roaches are just going to attack when the BCs aren't there. But Dolan's rocking a pretty strong defense even without the BCs. Oh, bad news for the queens. Yamato cannon just finished up. 2 queens going to give their lives. Oh, and a bonus overlord. Dolan's got to be happy with his outing. There goes BC1. He makes it home. NYK does not have the muscle to get through that wall. He may have a baneling nest, but he lacks actual banelings. As soon as I say that, he starts baneling speed. He might be contemplating a bust. Those roaches don't look terribly enthused to be going up against the Terran tanks. Especially not with the battle cruisers now having jumped back home. Looks like they're going to take out their frustrations on some destructible debris instead. It's anger management. And it gives them something to do while they wait for their speed upgrade to complete, which it has. Terran is once again picking up Blue Flame and Magfield Accelerator. NYK's about to finish the Spire, and he's starting an Infestation Pit. There's the 1-1 mech upgrades for Terran. It's like our players have just agreed to skip the fights in the middle and just get right to their ultimate armies. There's a reactor building on that starport. I think Dolan's done with the BCs at 3. Terran is, though, going to send out his 4th command center and build a 5th. His expansion process is so methodical. Zerg is going to officially take the upgrade lead as he completes +1 melee and +1 missile. But more important, Zerg is making 9 corruptors. This is actually what I wanted to see him do in Game 1. And I was so wrong then because those mutas were essential to his victory. But this should be the method to shut down the BCs. You can shut down corruptors in an air war, but it's really hard to do so efficiently. The BCs are flying over creep. Zerg can see them. The queens present themselves and volunteer for Yamato hits. Oh, Dolan sees the corruptors and decides to get out of there. He gets his 3 queen kills and saves all 3 BCs. But Zerg has to be feeling a window then. The harassment hammer is gone. He's got the upgrade lead and he's got 84 drones. This is prime time for Zerg. It looks like he's actually going to use the opportunity to get himself a hive and +1 air attack. I'm really starting to get a late game feel here. I suddenly feel the need to do a Crimson Zone check. But we are nowhere near the requisite 500. There has not been a huge amount of back and forth. This has largely been a game of consolidation for both players. But now that I say that, NYK may be moving out to get something done. Terran is just about to catch up on upgrades though. He checks the Terran 3rd location, but he finds it empty. He actually doesn't have vision of expansion 3 and 4. That's one way to keep your bases safe. NYK can't possibly think the Terran is 2-basing him. Dolan drops a scan on the Zerg main. He sees the hive tech and he sees the +1 air attack at the Spire. He's even going to see pathogen glands researching at the infestation pit. Another scan goes down on the Zerg 4th and he's going to see burrow being researched. And there's overlord speed at the natural. NYK's completing his upgrades like a set of Pokemon cards. Gotta get them all. Dolan has deduced the possibility of broodlords. He's starting a Viking count. And he's decided to go for it. Wow. 22 Hellions and 9 Cyclones. That is some serious wheels. NYK's responding to the attack by making Banelings. Here comes the clash! The Roach Ravagers cutting right into the Cyclones. The Banelings trap the Hellions from behind, and the Biles are nuking the center. The battlecruisers take turns abandoning the army below. Kerrigan would be so mad. She hates it when you do that. The army Dolan's been patiently building for the last 10 minutes just got crushed in about 20 seconds. Now his defense will truly be put to the test. He's gonna need to be ultra efficient while he rebuilds his units. His factories are focusing on replenishing his cyclone count. The green rainbows of caustic spray are going down on those command centers. They have to lift off. But once the Corruptors see battlecruisers that can't fly away, they get too excited. That is the new target. 1 BC goes down, 2 goes down. And there's 3. But the Corruptors are very vulnerable to Cyclones with mag field acceleration. NYK pulls them back. This is a job for Roaches. No, he's pulling those back too. Somehow Dolan has defended. I thought we were going to see a double strike on the G key there. But Dolan has lived to fight another day. Both his command centers escaped. He can land them back down. But NYK's got a transition in mind. Greater Spire is underway, and he's actually making an extra Spire as well. And he knows he has the freedom to spread creep unchallenged. Dolan has no choice but to turtle if he's going to stay alive. But if he can't find a way to generate offense, he's just prolonging the inevitable. His Cyclone Hellion combo is trying to see if it can bust out. He finds a secret Baneling hatching ground. He's going to shut that down. That's a victory. NYK's army is there. He's got to be looking to trade. He doesn't have the supply to make Broodlords. Zerg sees that the command centers are back, but he's trying to focus on crushing the Terran army. Cyclones, though, were made for running and shooting. Going around the mulberry bush is perfect for Terran. So many of those Terran units are deep in the red. Still, the Terran supply is rising, not falling. Zerg, though, is maxed and is mining at an ungodly rate. NYK orders 28 more replacement lings, some of which are no doubt going to wind up Banelings. Remember how I said Terran was getting bigger, not smaller? That may no longer be true. Zerg's got double the army. This exciting series might be ending with something of a whimper, but you gotta appreciate Dolan's tenacity. Oh, there's the first of the Broodlords in production. It's been a little while since I've been able to cast these brutes. Dolan might not, but I'm kinda looking forward to it. I like where Dolan's head's at. Static D. He knows the fight's coming to him. Maybe a fortress would help. More Ravagers for the Zerg. NYK's doing an amazing job at spending his money. It's time for the official unveiling of the Broodlords. There they are. Behold their elegant wingspan. Their cute little babies following in behind. Spoiler alert, the caterpillar does not turn into a beautiful butterfly. It rains death from above. Looks like NYK's getting back to business. He took a moment to claim even more hatcheries, but now he's on the attack. He goes right into the liberation zone. That's what Corruptors are for. And the first of the Broodlords arrive and survey the field of battle. Looks like they decide to drop their payload on the Terran tanks. They really mess with the AI of those poor tanks. Terran's army is disintegrating. He continues to pump out Cyclones. There's worse things to have against Broodlords, like those poor tanks, for example. But there's just too many Ravagers at this point. Zerg's about to reclaim the upgrade lead. Both of his +3 attacks are finishing up. Oh, Zerg is on top of the production facilities in the main, and that's when Dolan concedes it's over. It's NYK with the upset. Props to NYK, he's earned it. So, in Game 3, Dolan goes mech yet again. But a slightly different kind of mech, even heavier on Hellions and Cyclones than before. The Cyclones were interesting, because in theory they should be good against Corruptors and maybe Roaches. Once NYK went for air with his Corruptors in response to the battlecruisers, I would have thought we'd see Dolan add in Thors like he did in Game 1, but he did not. If I had to guess, he wanted to keep his mech mobile, and his composition was incredibly mobile for mech. The Hellions are some of the fastest units in the game, and the Cyclones can hit while retreating. I think he had something interesting in mind, hit and run or just showing up in a part of the map which was unexpected. But that doesn't quite explain the tank inclusion. But anyways, NYK absolutely whomped him. Going into the main fight, the big clash, Dolan had 120 army supply, 22 Hellions, 9 Cyclones, 4 tanks, and 2 battle cruisers. A few seconds later, his supply would drop to 39. In terms of ground force, NYK only had 7 Ravagers, 6 Roaches, and 24 Lings. Most of his supply was tied up in his 11 Corruptors. So how exactly did he manage that victory? I'm not totally sure, and if you know, please tell me in the comments below. I'd say he did it by converting his Lings into Banelings. He had a great Vice maneuver set up, with his Banes hitting the mech all bottled up for maximum splash damage, and then the Ravagers followed up with super quick corrosive biles. Lastly, the battle took place relatively closer to his ever-expanding hatches, so he could reinforce much quicker than his opponent. He made even more Lings. What it wasn't, though, was a composition thing. I know I always talk about composition. There was no hard counter here. This was just straight-up gameplay. Part perfect timing, part micro, and maybe part exploitation of the map's terrain. Anyway, it was pretty awesome and devastating to see. Not game 1 awesome, mind you. That one I'm going to remember for a long time. NYK, if he's not yet known, he probably should be. Am I the first to make that crack? If he goes on to develop into a top-tier player, everybody remember, you heard that line here first. Anywho, overall, a fantastic series. Special thanks again to Misery for making this happen. To continue your StarCraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your StarCraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang StarCraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.